If you think you are smart about everything, you got explanations and calculations and nonsense going on in your head. Silence is about moving from compulsiveness to consciousness. You can sing in silence, you can dance in silence, you can even speak in silence, you can even scream in silence. One can become silent in intense activity, but nobody can keep up intense activity forever.
The moment you identify yourself with something that you're not, then you're finished. Your mind is a continuous runs.
How powerful is a silent person? What can you achieve when you become silent? Sadhguru shares a few ideas about where you can start the process of becoming silent. Take a look.
The wind makes its own sound, so does the water. So does the earth. In fact, so does the sky. All the celestial objects are making their own sounds. There are sounds of pain, sounds of pleasure, sounds of misery, sounds of joy. For everything there is a sound. In human life, it's very true. Sounds of life, and there are sounds of death, and there are even sounds of silence. So this complex amalgamation of sounds, different kinds of sounds, creates different intent, different levels of compulsiveness, different levels of bondage, and different possibilities of entanglement. In all this, why one chooses to become silent. Silence is not a way of denying yourself life. It is not even about denying yourself articulation. Silence is about moving from compulsiveness to consciousness. All sounds represent different forms and different dimensions of compulsiveness. When one chooses to become conscious, not be entangled in the compulsive nature of the existence, he naturally chooses to become silent. Silence does not mean shutting your mouth silence, plugging your ears silence. You can sing in silence, you can dance in silence, you can even speak in silence, you can even scream in silence. Don't try. It is only the surface which makes the sound. Now the water is hitting the surface and making the sound. Deep down, there is no sound. That is so with life. On the surface, it is a very complex mesh of sounds, a maze of sounds happening. But at the core, there is no sound. There is no word for no sound in English language. We call it nishabd. that means absence of sound, a total absence of sound. Absence of sound means absence of reverberation. Absence of reverberation means absence of life. Absence of life means absence of creation. Absence of creation means absence of the creator too. So a space which is beyond creation and creator, a dimension which is beyond life and death, that is what is being referred to as silence or nishabd. One cannot do this. One can become this. Commonly, there are two words employed to describe this. One is maun, that means you're practicing silence, you're not silent. You shut your mouth and you're remaining in maun. This is not nishabd. Maun means you're practicing silence. If you're practicing something, obviously you're not that. Practicing silence starts as a certain restriction. But slowly, as one practices silence, one can possibly become silent. One can become silent in intense activity, but nobody can keep up intense activity forever. Moments of intense activity are only moments, nobody can sustain it. You'll expend yourself. Only if you can achieve it in inactivity, it is sustainable. If something is possible only in intense activity, it is never sustainable. So this possibility of coming to silence or becoming silent also means to become still, to become utterly still. Stillness can be achieved in so many ways. If you watch a snake, he's still. If you watch a tiger which is on a hunt, absolutely still, charged but still. These are all different dimensions of stillness practiced for survival. If a snake moves too often, he'll get killed. If a tiger does not know how to be still, he'll never get his food. These are all acts of survival. A human being, for survival, he has to be active. Only when his vision falls upon something which is beyond survival, then he will think of stillness. Then he will understand as he observes himself, as he notices the complexity of one's compulsions. He understands the only way to solve it is to become still. To train this body, to train this mind, to become still, takes some effort. If one is simply blissed out, he will become still. But otherwise one has to work. Bit by bit, one has to work to bring this body to absolute stillness. Most people cannot hold their body in one place for any length of time. They're all the time in moment. As it is said, a man is ill only because he does not know how to be still. Because in stillness, you're in touch with a dimension way beyond creation. Once one is in touch with that, there is no such thing as illness. In fact, when one becomes utterly still, he may not be able to hold on to the body unless he learns the tricks, the mechanism of the body. So why should I become still? Will I lose my body? Anyway, you will lose your body. When the time to lose your body comes, if you want to lose it gracefully, then you must know at least a little bit of stillness. If you want to put your body down like you can put this piece of cloth down, with the same ease, with the same gracefulness, then you need to have some stillness in you. Otherwise, you and your body, you have to be torn apart, which is an ugly thing to do. When you're being torn away from your body, it is an ugly and painful thing to do, unless you can keep it down. There's no grace in life. So if one has to attain to that grace, at least a certain amount of stillness has to enter your life. For this to happen, a certain level of silence has to enter your life. If right now if it is not coming, at least practicing a little bit of Maum. In an hour, if you're speaking 1573 words right now, how many more? How many words do you spit out in a minute? 1573, you're actually doing that many? I thought that's impossible. Okay, I believe you. So whatever number you're doing, see if you can articulate the same things that you're saying with half the number of words. Suddenly you will become extremely conscious of everything. Right now, our oral diarrhea is happening. If you're doing 1573, it's diarrhea, okay. Now, if you have to hold back half the words and still say the same things, now you have to be very conscious, otherwise you cannot say it. Just try this and see. Tomorrow, one day. In an hour, normally what number of words you utter, make it half. Don't curtail your activity, still say the same things, but with half the words. How wonderful the whole world will feel, you know. World will be a wonderful place, I'm telling you, tomorrow, if everybody does this. Many marriages will be saved.
During another talk, Sadhguru is asked how to control the mind. Sadhguru gives an answer as to how the mind can be controlled and if it is really necessary to obtain the power of silence.
Sadhguru, I wanted to know that when we are silent, still we feel that mind chattery which always bothers us, and our thought always shifts back to past and future imaginations which will not be any of output. How to get rid of it?
A whole lot of thought about this thoughtlessness. Thoughtlessness, no mind, these kinds of terms have been propagated all over the place, and these terms have been badly misunderstood and made into all kinds of things, and people are striving how to stop my mind. It took millions of years of evolution to get a mind of this kind of capability, and now you want to stop it. If you sit here, you will see your body is here, your mind is somewhere, who you are is somewhere else. Once there is a space between you and the mind, then what the mind is not doing, what the mind is doing is not even an issue. It is like you're stuck in the traffic jam. You're struggling through the traffic. That's one experience. Suppose you're either standing on Chamundi Hill or you're floating in a hot air balloon and look down at all the traffic. Very peacefully, traffic. Why? There's a distance, isn't it? When you're in it, traffic is a different experience. From really high up there, sitting in a hot air balloon, you look down, you can't even hear the sounds. Looks wonderful, traffic, isn't it? Yes or no? Because there's a distance. So once there's a distance between you and your mind's activity, mind is not a problem. Mind is a miracle, it is not a problem. The moment you identify yourself with something that you're not, then you're finished. Your mind is a continuous runs. There is no other way. Do what you want, try as hard as you want, it is not going to stop. If you do not identify yourself with anything that you are not, you know how to be with everything, you know how to use everything, but you're not identified with it, then you will see if you sit here, simply mind will be like this. You want to use it, you can use it, otherwise it'll be like this. The issue is, the most important faculty in your life is out of control, doing its own rubbish all the time, not doing what you want it to do. So, if you have to be freed from this ailment, you should stop eating bad food. Wrong food or bad food means you're identifying yourself with things that you're not. If you sit here, if you're not identified with this and with this, then you will see everything is just fine. Then your mind will do what you want it to do. Otherwise, it'll simply hang there, and that's how it should be. Mind should not be telling its own stories all the time. It should tell the story that you want it to tell, isn't it? Otherwise, it's quite a nuisance.
Sadhguru continues to explain how silence can be achieved. What can be done to turn around the distraction?
So the process of what you call as spiritual is not a psychological process. Your memory has nothing to do with it. It's a life process, it's an existential process. This can only happen if you allow yourself to be just a piece of life that you are, to become silent is possible only when you do not think much of yourself. If you think something about yourself, if you think, I'm smart, how can you shut up? If you realize that you're actually stupid, you don't know anything in this existence, then, isn't it? Then you can simply look at life with great sense of wonder, without a thought appearing in your mind. If you think you're smart about everything, you got explanations and calculations and nonsense going on in your head. If you see one thing, 1,000 thoughts will go off, isn't it? Because the moment you think there is some value to what you think, then you can't stop it. No way to stop it. It'll just go on and on and on. When you see there is absolutely no life value to your thought process, it is just memory recycling itself. It is just the same old nonsense recycling itself. But if you're excited, if you're enamored by this recycle, if you think it's great, you cannot stop it. if you see the patterns of what it is, if you see the stupidity of what it is, then slowly you will distance yourself and it'll collapse. Because without attention, it cannot go on.
You could not have known silence to be so powerful. According to Sadhguru, when done in the right manner, you can go beyond this dimension. Practice brings perfection, and it is never too late to start. Click on this video shown to see more videos from us. What would you like to see in the next video? Share your thoughts in the comments section. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching.